All right, aloha friends. Brian Gossett here with GM Sports Media. It's another episode of Game Time with the Goss, powered by Grey Wolf Promotions. Football and volleyball playoffs just around the corner. You're looking for playoff T-shirts? Go check them out at greywolfpromotions.com. My guest today is my good buddy Nolan Ruth, the Parker County Godfather and Parker County Insider this season for us at GM Sports Media. Nolan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me back. I don't think I've been on since preseason. So this is
It's been a minute.
yeah, it's a nice towards the end of the football season appearance. I like it.
Yeah, just a few weeks left in the regular season before we start going in the playoffs. But I kind of like to start with some of the surprise teams in Parker County. You did the playoff, you did a regular season preview back in the summer, and you had your thoughts about each team. Who's kind of been a surprise so far this year in Parker County?
I honestly think that the biggest surprise for me is Peaster and how good they've looked. I'm finally going to get a chance to go see them on Friday. Excited for that. But Perrin Witt has really just come out. I don't know how they got so good, just out of nowhere. They fell to Newcastle in the district opener last week. That sucks. That's a bad loss. Really puts them in a tough spot to try to get in the playoffs. They're going to have to beat Knox City. But I think Peaster's probably the biggest surprise. Only one loss right now to a really good Jacksboro team. And they've got a big one. Their district is really only going to get tougher for the rest of the season. So we'll see how they can finish up. But definitely Peaster competing for a district championship. I did not have that on my bingo card.
All right, you're gonna have to help me out. I think is there three undefeated teams in Parker County: Aledo, Brock, and Hazel.
Aledo fell to
Oh,
Denton Guyer week one, so it'd be Azel and Brock. Those are the only two undefeated teams.
What are your thoughts about those two teams, Brock and Hazel, so far?
Brock is really good all around, and I expected that. This is exactly what I expected to see out of Brock, if not even better than what I was expecting to see from the Eagles this year. So that's encouraging. I think Brock's really good. I think in my mind that I only see one team beating Brock this year, and that would be a semifinal. So we'll worry about that when we get there. Hazel, they've got a really, really good offense, and they can score at will, and they're going to need to do that if they want to beat Denton Ryan, Aledo, and Richland. I think they're in the playoffs. If I'm not mistaken, they've either already clinched playoff berth or they're one win away from doing so. So they should be in the playoffs, I fully expect. But yeah, their defense is what gives me some concern because they can obviously score at will, and you see that in some of the final scores they have. But they also give up a lot of points. So that's going to be the Achilles heel for Hazel, I think.
Yeah, and Hazel having a great start to the season. It's been at least 35 years, if not even more, that they're having this start to this season. So, shout out to Coach Doris and the Hornets there. Another team I can think of is the Springtown Porcupines. After a stumble there in week one, they're looking pretty good this so far.
Yeah, and I think that was a really fluke loss. Talking to Coach Hewlett and a couple of the other coaches at Springtown, they were short their quarterback Kane Hill for that loss to Joshua, and they've bounced back and looked solid. Now you're going to look solid when you're in a district with all these Fort Worth ISD schools. So that I've been saying it in my weekly roundup. There's really not much more I can learn about Springtown right now while they're in this stretch of games until in just a couple of weeks when they play Decatur finally, and that's going to be the big one. That's going to be the district championship. No, I think Springtown looked really solid when I saw them play against China Spring. Obviously, the results from that one and the win against Graham and the win against Kennedale. I know Kennedale's having a struggling year this year, but they've looked solid, and I think they've got some key pieces back. The key, though, for them is they're really, really young. I feel like this is a Springtown team that may be a year too early. So when it comes playoff time, I'm not sure how deep a run we're going to see, especially with them now being Region 2 instead of Region 1. So that's going to be interesting to see. I think that they have the good pieces and a lot of the right pieces. So we'll see, but we'll know a lot more whenever they play Decatur.
And then for some of the other schools that kind of haven't been too hot, who's the most likely to maybe make a run here late and try and clinch a playoff berth?
Hazel Christian's had an up and down year in taps, and they've been hit by the injury bug. And when you're Division 3 6 man, you know, one injury alone can really hurt your team. And that's actually exactly it was a pair of injuries to their two best players. They got one back, and they're about to get the other one back. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks is what I've been told. And when they're both on the field, Hazel Christian is a completely different team. So I expect the Crusaders to be a lot better in the last few weeks of the season and in the playoffs than they've shown all season. I think that they're probably the ones that once they get that last piece back, they're gonna be really solid.
Talking with the Parker County Godfather, Nolan Ruth. Um, I just curious on your thoughts about some of the best wins so far this year among your Parker County teams.
I mean, Alito's comeback against Denton Ryan has got to be up there on the list. Everyone always wants to talk about Alito and always say, "Oh, this is the year. It's fine. Their reign finally comes to an end. The district streak is finally going to come to an end." And Denton Ryan had Alito on their heels, and they came out in the second half and were just a completely different team in that game. And came back, scored 34 unanswered points to win the game, shut out Denton Ryan in the second half. Not many teams can say that in the state of Texas. I liked Springtown's win against China Spring. They had to hold on at the end. I think they scored most of their points in the first half of that one, and then offense really couldn't get a lot going in the second half. But they were able to get the stops when needed. China Spring was throwing for a Hail Mary as time expired, and Springtown intercepted it. That one, trying to stay impartial, that one got me on the edge of my seat a little bit towards the end of that game. Willow Park TCA has gotten a couple good wins, and that is, I think my preseason prediction had them winning only one, and so it's good to see them taking steps in the right direction. So pretty much any win for Willow Park TCA, I'll say, was a big win. Um, Weatherford Christian's winless. Weatherford's winless. And probably Peaster and Toller, the 10-0 win to open up the season. That really, I mean, Greyhounds are already always on my radar, but that really opened my eyes and made me see, okay, I've got to figure out what's going on in Peaster. I think that was a big one, and just the two district wins they have under their belt already so far. Those are big wins. I mean, I really like the Greyhounds. So any win for Willow Park TCA and any win for Peaster for me is a big one. And then of course the Alito Ryan one, and I'll say I'm going to say Azle and Abilene Cooper. That was actually there was a non-district game, but it was a game that really showed Azle's ability to score at will, as they've been doing the whole time. And I was doing some math, and I found out that the magic number for Azle is 43. As long as they can score more than 43 points, that's about how much they're giving up in a game. So they've got to keep scoring. But the Azle Abilene Cooper win, that was the one that really showed that really laid the foundation for the offensive year that Azle's been having.
Yeah, we have about a month left in the regular season. You kind of hit on one, Springtown and Decatur. But what are some of the marquee matchups here as we close out the regular season?
It's like I said for Peaster, it's going to be every game they have left. They're going to play the toughest part of their district in these last few weeks, and it starts on Friday with Paradise. Then they got to play Vernon, and Vernon's going to be a really big test. There's still a very good possibility Peaster ends up as the 4th seed in this district. So I don't think a lot of people are thinking about that right now, but they should be, because Peaster is human, and they have had some low scoring affairs. Almost, I believe it was Ponder that they almost lost to and had to really hold on a couple weeks ago. Peaster, every single game for them is going to be a big one remaining. Springtown, Decatur, obviously. Azle has their toughest part of the schedule coming up. Denton Ryan, Alito, and Richland. I'm going to try to beat the Richland one. I think that one's going to be the 3rd place match. And that should be good. I've already gotten to see Azle once this year, so hopefully I'll get to do it again. Last week of the season, second to last week of the season, Millsap is on the road at Henrietta. In my mind, that determines whether or not the Bulldogs make the playoffs. It is going to be that game between Henrietta and Millsap, and that one's become quite a bit of a rivalry lately. So that's going to be a big one for Millsap. Azle Christian is going to be playing Wichita Christian, who, if you follow private school 6-man, you know they are just killing teams right now and leaving nothing behind. So that's going to be a really big one. I hope Azle Christian can get their player Brody Clark back for that one, because he's the missing piece that the Crusaders need to get back right now. And if Brody gets back, Azle Christian would have a good chance to beat Wichita for the district championship.
Now, do you have a tentative schedule, Parker County games that you'll go to and fans can go see you?
Oh, this week I'm at Peaster against Paradise on Friday, Springtown and Diamond Hill on Saturday. That one should be quick. Gosh, give me a second. I was unprepared for that one. I know for sure Springtown Decatur. That's the one I try to go to every year. I don't believe I have a Lido on my schedule again. I don't believe I have Millsap on my schedule again either. Yeah, it's gonna be. I know I'm trying to see Willow Park TCA very soon. They're playing. I think I scheduled the one where they play Fort Worth Lake Country. So finally get to that'll be next week. And then Springtown Decatur, yeah, and then Azle Richland. After this Saturday, no more Parker County Thursday or Saturday games. All of them are on Friday, so just 3 more Parker County games left in the regular season for me after this week, and then we got playoffs. So yeah, Azle at Richland in week 11, Springtown at Decatur is week 10, and then next week will be Willow Park TCA against Lake Country. That's tentative though.
Yeah.
That might change.
Yeah, go check Nolan out. Make sure to read his stories, gmsportsmedia.com, and follow him on X, Nolan Ruth. And yeah, we're just talking about playoffs now. The standard is always going to be Alito and Brock among the Parker County teams. We know about Brock, Billy Mathis. They've been close a couple years now. Talk about it. Do they have a real shot to get back to state and hoist in that state championship trophy?
Yeah, and I teased it earlier, and now you've asked, so I'm going to say it's Carthage. That's going to be the one. It's going to be the semifinal, and that's to be the best, you got to beat the best, and that is really true in Class 4A, where Carthage, has just dominated this classification for almost 15 years now. And anytime they don't win, whoever won state had to go through Carthage. So that's going to be the key one, and that's going to be the game. Glen Rose is going to be an interesting fight. Graham's going to be an interesting fight. I just don't see anyone in Region 1 taking Brock wire to wire in a game that should be super close and until Carthage. And then once they get past that, then we can talk about who they'll be playing for a state title. But absolutely, I think Brock will be playing at least 15 games. And if they can get past that Carthage, or it might be Gilmer, who knows? If they can get past that semifinal, then yes, I think if they make it to Arlington, I think they can win it. It again all comes down to that semifinal, whether it's Carthage or Gilmer. I think those are the only two that can really take Brock wire to wire.
You mentioned the district win streak for Alito. I kind of want to plug that in. Are they up to 124 now?
Yes.
Yeah, because did they have a bye last week?
They're off this week. They beat Granbury last week.
So they're at 124. They're trying for what, number 13 state title? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What's their path look like? Who might kind of be the one team that gets Alito?
Well, they still have to play Richland. So the one thing I will say is to the Bearcats, don't catch yourselves napping. Take that team very serious. I know Denton Ryan really kind of squandered any hopes of Richland being what I would consider a state title contender, but they're still a solid team. And I know Coach Robbie Jones was telling his team going into the Granbury game last week, don't let Granbury pull a Vanderbilt and beat you. And so they didn't. Obviously, Alito cruised to an easy victory. They were actually up 28-0 before the Millsap game kicked off. So that game was over before my game even started on Friday night. They still got to go through Richland, and then they're probably going to have to play Richland twice and probably going to have to play Denton Ryan twice. Region 1 in 5A Division 1, man. I mean, you're going to have to go out west and play some Lubbock schools and some Abilene schools, and the El Paso schools especially are always very, very, you never really know with them. So Region 1 is going to look pretty, I don't want to say easy. When you play West Texas teams like that, no game ever comes easy. It's going to be physical. So as long as Alito can stay healthy, I think they get back to it. And then the semifinal, it's either going to be probably Frisco Lone Star or Highland Park, whoever comes out of that region. And then probably whoever wins the rematch between A&M Consolidated and College Station. It's going to be I think it's going to be an expected road, probably what we're all thinking of how to get there if they do it. Probably going to have to go through Ryan twice. That's probably going to be the biggest thing is that second game with Denton Ryan.
And then who's got the best chance to make a deep playoff run and even, try to make it to Arlington?
To make it to Arlington, I would say don't sleep on Springtown. If they can ride this momentum and keep getting stronger, I think that they can make some noise in Region 2 in 4A. That's my answer for Arlington. For Waco, I'm going to go back to Weatherford Christian, not Weatherford, Azle Christian, excuse me. Weatherford Christian needs to win a game first. Azle Christian, I think, has a good chance to make it to Waco. Again, they've got to get Brody Clark back, but once they do, the Crusaders are going to be really dangerous.
Awesome. Awesome. And I gotta throw in a plug here because you got the hat on. Looking good, Dodgers.
Dodger Blue. I was so nervous. I am scared of the Mets, but thankfully after last night we're up 2-1. So hopefully by the end of tonight, I'll be leaving Northwest ISD Stadium and pumping my fist a little bit, and we'll go up 3-1 on the Mets. I would love to win that in New York, by the way. I would really love to win that in front of Mets fans.
Awesome. All right, Nolan. Shout out to you. Thanks so much for all your help with GM Sports Media and all your great coverage. And also got to give a shout out to Brian McLean, who's been taking pictures for GM Sports Media. He's been out to your Parker County game. So shout out to the both of you. Great work.
Thanks, man. We enjoy doing it. I'll definitely love my Parker County schools.
All right, again, that's Parker County Godfather, our insider, Nolan Ruth. Check him out on X, Real Nolan Ruth, and make sure to read up on his great coverage of Parker County at gmsportsmedia.com. And this is another episode of Game Time with the Goss. I'm Brian Gossett. Thanks to Grey Wolf Promotions for being our great sponsors. Go check them out for some great playoff T-shirts, and we'll see you next time.